My group had a great conversation about the topic of budget. We discussed the pros and cons for each of the budget types that were listed. Starting with the line item, we felt as though it was itemized and you could visualize everything, but was this a good thing or a bad thing? We did put it with the pros, and we did feel as though this was clear, had clear expectations of what we could order, and what we would be ordering. The cons were that it was limited and not as much flexibility. So we felt as though it was more of a system that kind of told you what you could order and then you had to follow it. So it was rather stringent. The lump sum amount, we felt as though that had freedom as a pro and that you could match it to your needs of the population you serve. While the cons, we felt for certain items you might have to get permission. So, for example, in my library, I get a lump sum each year. However, it's just for books. So it was allotted to a certain thing. And it's harder to keep track of or justify each thing that you need money for. So instead of just saying, I need $1,000 for books, there's no way to say, okay, well, I need this much for supplies to repair books and other things like that. The zero based budget, a pro we felt was that you start fresh every year. As a supplement, we discussed using donorschoose.org or Scholastic Book Fair so that if you didn't have enough, you could make up for it in that way. But we also felt as though it was more work to advocate for yourself and to prove why you needed it. As far as the formula budget went, we felt as though a pro was that it was equity among different schools. So, for example, one of the girls in our group had talked about how she has 600 students at her school, while another school in the district has 400. So it would make more sense that she would have a larger collection, therefore requiring a larger budget. Um, uh, we didn't really have any cons for that, even though it wasn't necessarily one of our favorites. As far as my personal choice, I feel as though a combination of a lump sum and a formula would be great for someone in my position. As I had stated during our discussion, in my district, it is principal by principal. And so I am lucky that both of my principals allot me $1,000 for my yearly, but it has to be book budget, and I have to advocate if I need other things. However, depending on the size of the school and the needs, I think that it would be great if there was some basic formula and then you could add to that. And so, maybe showing why you need even more than that sometimes, but that you're always guaranteed a certain amount.